My name's Matt Saprito, and I'm the owner and maker of everything that is brick-bound leather. So we got this great tour of Morocco. He was basically our guide, and while we were there, we visited this old tannery. And this tannery's been around for thousands of years. I picked up a bag, brought it home, then was skiing up a big sky and tore my knee, like so many of us do, my ACL and my MCL. So it was the beginning of a winter, needed a new hobby to survive this long Montana winter, and went down to a saddle shop here that's in Bozeman and just started to pick the guy's brain. And I just went home and tried to replicate the bag I had bought in Morocco. I had no interest in it whatsoever. Fashion, leather, stitching, I mean, nothing really before I had torn my knee. And even when I bought the bag in Morocco, it wasn't on my mind to go home and try to replicate these things. You know, I just thought it was a cool bag.
Your life.
Oh, I've done a lot of stuff. And, you know, just because you do it doesn't mean you have to stick with it. There's all this, people say, don't quit, don't do this, don't give up, don't yada, yada, yada. Well, you know, it's also important to know when something's not for you, and you got to move on till you find your best fit. And I feel like I did that quite a bit when I was younger, from a chimney sweep to selling Christmas trees to working behind a deli to being a busboy to, you know, working at the airport, all sorts of stuff. And you realize that some of it's just not for you. And every job you have, if you quit, you just know it's one more thing that's not meant to be for you. And then it helps you find what is meant to be for you. And this just kind of stumbled into my lap from one thing. And sometimes when it presents itself, you just have to give it a shot. I like to think that it's going to be around after I'm dead. Not to be morbid, but just to think that I am going back to the way that stuff used to be made, when there was integrity in products, when it wasn't designed to fail, when it was designed to succeed and maintain its functionality and do its purpose for as long as it can. And when it does fail, easy enough to fix. I want these things to last people. I want them to be heirloom quality pieces. I want them to age as well as you and pass down to your kids and fulfill their function. And that's really it. Just try to keep it simple and well built. So instead of trying to come up with a new line every fall, every spring, I just would rather come up with something that I could sell season after season after season and have it more of a style than a fashion sort of a piece. No, I'm not fancy at all. I'm not fancy at all. I don't use any computers to help me. I don't use any sewing machines to make it easier. So for me, the more of a simplified pattern that I can create, the better. Because it's all hand stitched, so the quicker I could bring it together helps me maintain my good price point. And then also, you know, it just maintains its integrity. I don't want to make anything too thin, anything really. Just want to make sure it serves its purpose. So here is the bike chain, and it's used both on the handles and on the shoulder straps for the larger bags. It just came out of necessity, really. I was in a groove one day working, and I was missing some key pieces of hardware. So I went out in the garage and tried to find something that I had four of. Couldn't find anything good except for this old used chain. So I used some of my bike degreaser and cleaner and cleaned up the chain as best I could, and then segmented it out and reattached it together. Yeah, I mean, you know, so many people hold themselves to this set of rules that are only put in place by yourself or some preconceived notion what people are going to want or, you know, consider the right choice. And then when you realize that you've done something not too many other people have done, you see the reactions of people that come up and see it, and it's fantastic. You thought to yourself, well, why haven't I done this before, or why haven't I done it more often? Because it was obviously the right choice. So here is an interior of one of my smaller handbags, and it's got the Pendleton on the interior there. Comes straight from Oregon. Oh yeah, there's a silver lining in everything. I mean, from the chains to the splattered pattern that I offer, it's all been a mistake. But I mean, I guess in the long term, it hasn't been a mistake. You know, it's a short-term mistake. It's a long-term gain. So, you know, don't be so quick to get pissed at yourself or to blow something off. You know, think about it for a second, and maybe it'll work out to your benefit.
So tell me about the splatter.
So the splatter is, so this is one of the splatter bags. It's really fun. Each one is completely different. Each splatter, it's not like wallpaper where you can put it up next to each other and it'll repeat. Each one's different. It came out of a mistake. I have a black dye that I use to create all the black products. And then I just use an oil for the brown products. And there's two different stations. But one day I had some of the black dye jump over to the brown dyeing station. So I was in a little bit of a conundrum. I had this nice big piece of leather. It was ready to go, ready to make into a bag with this tiny little black dot on it. enough for me to see and just annoy me. So I thought about it, and I wanted to find a way to salvage this bag, and I had a little eyedropper. So I went out and I filled it with the black dye and went up on top of the ladder and gave it my best Jackson Pollock and brought it to a show, and it was the first bag I sold that day. So I figured I'd make a couple more, and ever since then it's been really, really popular.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I think people are too busy to dream sometimes. I don't know if they don't have the ability or whether they don't have the ambition, but I think sometimes life is so busy you don't have the ability to stop and actually dream. Just slow down a little bit and maybe you can think about what you really want to do. But I think sometimes it's just too busy to dream.